Hold on, I gotta make this a little bit more spooky. There we go. Hello and welcome to Dead Channel. I'm your host, Second Soundwave. And what better night to bring dead things back to life? For those new to the channel, Gunpla News is a very frequent series of videos I do talking about new and upcoming Gundam models. So let's just jump right in. And buckle up, because it's going to be a long ride. Due to the sheer quantity of content that I'll have to cover tonight, I'm not going to talk very long about a lot of these kits, and I might miss one or two here. I tried to get everything that I could, but I'm sure there's some stuff that I might have missed. Starting things off big with the Perfect Grade 007 sword. This kit's existence was announced before we actually had a name or pictures or anything. They said, ooh, new Perfect Grade coming, what's it going to be? And this is pretty much the biggest disappointment it could have been. I mean, come on. This is the year they've been doing all this cool Char's counterattack stuff. Why not a Perfect Grade new Gundam? It would make sense. But no, they're going to take what is arguably one of the worst Perfect Grades and just give it some different weapons. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of this kit. I do like the 007 sword as a Gundam, but I really don't think this was a very interesting release. I think they should have maybe done the 7 sword parts as like an option set you could add to your 00 riser, maybe even released it as a P-Bandai kit, because let's face it, this thing's about as relevant as the red frame Kai. Plummeting down to the opposite side of the scale spectrum, we have the SD Cross Silhouette Freedom. We've already seen this thing before, we knew it existed, but now we have color images of it, and it looks like a Cross Silhouette Freedom Gundam. There's really not a lot of judgments I can make because these are just painted images of it, but I'm sure the color separations could be pretty awesome judging by the previous releases. Bandai's finally started monetizing the Haro in the form of model kits this year. Took them, what, 30, 40 years to actually figure out that they could print money with this thing. And coming down the Haro line, we're actually going to be getting a Haro in a mech suit. This is the mobile Haro, and it's a Haro in a mech suit. There's not much to say about it. Looks pretty fun, looks pretty cool. The GBN base Gundam was a new mobile suit that gets very briefly seen at the end of Gundam Build Fighters, and it is kind of something that a lot of people I think wanted to see, which was a Gundam based off the GM, but I don't think anyone really wanted to see it like this. For some reason, they chose to cast the kit in that kind of semi-translucent fluorescent plastic they use for the 00 Sky Higher Than Sky phase. I didn't like it when they used it for the Build Fighters version of the Crossbone full cloth, and I don't like it when they used it here. The Master Grade Sinanju Stein narrative version was something we probably all saw coming, but I don't think any of us saw it coming as a full-on retail release, especially considering the fact that the Phoenix narrative version was P-Bandai. More surprisingly to me is the fact that this is going to be released as a Ver-Ka. Now, from a marketing standpoint, I don't think that was a great idea, since the sleeves version of the Sinanju Stein isn't that different from the normal one, and the Ver-Ka kits kind of have this theme going on with them where the boxes are always just a blank white background and just the kit standing there. From a visual standpoint, looking at the boxes, the only thing that sets apart the Ver-Kas is what mobile suit's on the front of the box. And I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to have two Ver-Kas that are almost the exact same design. I think they should have done something like they did with the updated versions of the Unicorn and Sinanju Ver-Kas, where they put them in standard style MG boxes and gave them some standard MG box art. If they did that with the Sinanju Stein narrative version, it would help set it apart and make it actually look like its own kit. The Victory Gundam 2 Ver-Ka is finally getting the Assault and Buster parts that were teased way back when the kit came out in that little paper pamphlet that was included in the box. There's going to be two versions of this set released. One is just going to be the weapons that you can attach to your existing V2 Ver-Ka, and then a second version of the set is going to include the Victory 2 Ver-Ka. However, all of the yellow parts will be a nice plated gold. Or at least, that's how it looks in the pictures. I guess this is a pretty cool looking set, but it's still based off the V2 Ver-Ka, so proceed with caution. Okay, so Bandai has basically been reading off my wish list for these next few high grades we're going to be talking about, because the next high grade kit we're talking about tonight is the HGUC Gustav Karl. It's kind of unreal for me to be looking at this kit because I can't believe it's finally happening. I've talked before about how much I like the Gustav Karl, at least I think I have. I'm sure I've talked about the Gustav Karl before. I love this mobile suit, and the high grade looks like a high grade. Like, I can't say it looks amazing because it looks like a pretty standard HGUC, but it's the Gustav Karl, and that's all that matters. Now, this is specifically marked as the Unicorn version, meaning that we're probably going to be seeing the narrative and Hathaway's Flash versions in the near future as P-Bandai or some other variation. The high-grade Universal Century R-Jarja is another long-time dream kit for me. This was an obvious release from the moment they made the R-Jarja, and for some reason they decided to wait several years before making the Double Zeta version. I'm definitely going to be picking one of these up. I really like this mobile suit a lot, and I'm super happy to finally see a little more love for Double Zeta Gundam. Moving on to Gundam Build Fighters, the RX-0 Maru got a bit of an upgrade for the last few episodes of Build Divers. It's kind of a mix between the Full Armor Unicorn and the Crystallized Unicorn from the end of Unicorn. That's the most times I've ever said unicorn in one sentence. So the basic SD form has the full armor shields on the arms, and then the real mode has the crystals on the shoulders and knees. The three shields also form a big feathery tail for the bird, and I like how it looks. It's alright. We're also getting a figurized standard of Ayame herself because she turned out to be one of the more popular characters in the show. Her face looks really nice. It doesn't have that creepy doll eye look that a lot of the earlier mecha girls had. She's got a lot of different expression faces. She's got both masked and unmasked faces, and it looks like she comes with a couple weapons too. Gazu L and Gazu R continue the run of cool Double Zeta kits that Bandai has been putting out. And it does look like the way they're releasing this is as a single set that has both kits in their entirety, which is really nice. The original Gazu L, Gazu R was actually one kit that came with the parts for both. So it's pretty cool that you can just get one set and have both kits. So the narrative Gundam is a design that I'm a little bit conflicted on because I like the Gundam itself, but I don't really like that big mobile armor that it's packed with. However, it does look like there will be an alternative to that in the form of the narrative Gundam with B-type equipment. Now, we haven't seen really a lot of pictures of this. All we have to go off are one very rough prototype. It looks like he's got a pair of cut-down Jegan shields on his arms and what I would assume are fin funnels on the back. It's definitely a cooler looking version of the narrative, although I don't know how much cheaper it's going to be than the mobile armor version considering it's P-Bandai. The Leo flight type is a Leo with a wing pack. It's also got a bunch of other weapons that the Leo didn't have before, like the Dober gun, a bazooka. I don't remember this from Wing at all. I knew the space type Leo was a thing, I knew the green Leo was a thing, but I'd never heard of the flight Leo before. I think it's called the Escort Jegan, was a variation of the Jegan Equus type that we saw in the narrative trailer. It's a very simple mod that just got a new gun and head, so obviously it's P-Bandai, not really much to say here. This really cool Hyaku-Shiki variant is from the Build Divers GBWC spin-off. It's based off a custom Hyaku-Shiki 2.0 that was made by Naoki, and then they made it into a real kit. And I think it looks kind of cool. Interesting, but not really something I'd want myself. Quess Prizes Doga, it's a Re 100, it's a straight recolor, we all saw this coming. Moving on. Actually no, not moving on, because there's something kind of interesting to talk about with this. They're including with this model a alternate arm part that you can use to make the sleeves version of the Doga. Not only are you supposed to use this new alternate arm part, you're also supposed to cannibalize parts from your sleeves type Gira Doga, which is another P-Bandai kit. So if you buy one $70 to $90 P-Bandai kit and another $70 to $90 P-Bandai kit, and then paint everything yourself, you can make yourself a sleeves Doga. If I see more than 3 people actually do that, I will be legitimately impressed. So the Gundam F91 2.0 is getting its first P-Bandai kit, and thankfully it is not the Harrison Medin variant, giving that kit a little more hope for a retail release. This is instead a combination of 2 F91 MSV designs. The twin VSRB and back cannon variations of the F91 get thrown together into one box since there's very little difference between them, and there's no color change to the F91 itself, which means you're basically getting 3 kits. The original F91 2.0, the back cannon version, and the twin VSBR type. Both variations look okay, but they're really not anything that would have been particularly exciting at retail, making this a really excellent choice for the premium Bandai web shop. So a new variation of the Unicorn Gundam has been introduced to us because, of course it has, it's the Unicorn, it's never gonna stop. This is the Unicorn Gundam Perfectibility mode. This is basically the Full Armor Unicorn Plan B, which, for those who don't know, is just the Full Armor Unicorn, but with every possible piece of Unicorn equipment from every Unicorn variant attached on all at once. And what makes the Perfectibility mode is the narrative-style Phoenix tails on the wings. That's literally it. However, this new variation has given Bandai an excuse to make 2 new models of the Full Armor Unicorn Plan B with these added parts. There's going to be a real grade version of it that's going to be packed with a very, very expensive Blu-ray set, so good luck getting that. And then there's going to be a high-grade Destroy Mode version of it that's going to be released at Gundam Base Tokyo. The real grade's particularly interesting since in order to make this kit, they have to make the claw and rifle for the Banshee, and they have to make the wings for the Phoenix narrative version. So now pretty much all the tooling exists for all the major variations of the real grade Unicorn. All Bandai has to do now is print them in the right colors and put them in different boxes. So we've been kind of jumping around back and forth between different grades and scales and different series, and that's kind of just because I've thrown all these kits together in whatever order I can without really sorting them, just because there's too much to go through. But We're jumping back down to the Build Divers high grade line now to talk about the Gundam Zerachiel. Zerachiel is a Build Divers variation of the Gundam Harut, and it looks alright. I prefer the Harut a lot more to this design, but I guess it's still okay. Man, this next kit is something that I really, truly hope doesn't come to fruition. And I don't think I've ever said that about a kit on Gunpla News before, but this is something just particularly messed up. So, for those of you who don't know, I love the XS Gundam. I really love the XS Gundam. It's pretty much one of my favorite Gundams of all time, but as you know, the Master Grade and the High Grade are both very, very old. Because of this, a Master Grade 2.0, or better yet, a full-on super detailed Verka, are obviously at the absolute top of my model kit want list. Like, they're right up there at the top, like nothing's above them. So there's really no bigger slap in the face Bandai could have given me than by showing off a Master Grade XS Gundam, a new Master Grade XS Gundam that's not a 2.0. What they've done here on this kit is they've taken the new and quote-unquote upgraded tooling from the Deep Striker that was really an absolute joke, and they've applied it to the original XS Gundam, the old XS Gundam kit that isn't really detailed and doesn't do much of anything. They haven't confirmed if they're actually going to release this, but it's so rare that Bandai doesn't come through with a reference exhibit that they put out that I can't say this won't happen. And I'm really, really not going to be happy if it does, because this pretty much is the last nail in the coffin for a 2.0 XS. Like, this is basically their way of saying it's never happening. This is actually worse than them announcing nothing. This is a definitive no. And that's why this kit pisses me off. The high-res Wing Zero is getting a Wing Gundam variation because of course it is. That's what Bandai always does with the Wing Zero Custom. This one looks really cool. I did like the Wing Zero Custom high-res model a lot, and I do like the Wing EW design. And best of all, this kit's actually going to be relatively affordable. I mean, it's still going to be a high-res model, but because it's getting released by Bluefin, you won't have to pay P-Bandai prices for it. Unless you live outside of the US and Japan, in which case, yeah, you're still not in a great position. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that we all saw this coming, but Real Grade Tolkis 2 is something that I don't think is going to surprise anyone. It's a recolor of the Tolkis, it's got a new mohawk, what more would you expect from it really? So I'm going to put out a mild spoiler warning for Gundam Build Divers before this next kit. I'm not going to say go out and watch the show before you finish this video, because frankly it wasn't really that great. But if you happen to be one of the few people that really did like Gundam Build Divers and for some reason you haven't finished it by now, go back and finish it and then finish this video. Anyways, the mobile doll Sarah is based off Sarah. She appeared at the end of Build Divers with her little mecha Gunpla body. Unlike the Ayami we looked at earlier and the Nami that was released earlier this year, this is actually part of the high grade line and not a figurized standard. Which makes sense because in universe this is actually supposed to be a Gunpla. She has an alternate head that makes her look more like a mech, and ultimately it's just another one of those Mecha Girl high-grade kits that we've gotten so many of recently. We do have some colored images of the high-grade narrative Gundam with the giant mobile armor, which is apparently called the APAC. The narrative Gundam itself looks pretty accurate, and the APAC's big. Like, really big. There's actually a pair of small clear stands that you have to use to hold the cannons up so they don't droop forward. The Gundam itself looks like it's gonna have some pretty good articulation though. He has build burning style swing forward shoulders, and adjustable hip joints, which should allow for some pretty good leg mobility. More Ayame merch coming because Ayame is pretty much everyone's favorite Build Divers character. It's a petite guy, it's like the Kara guy or Chera guy they did for Fumina and Gyanko, but it's Ayame. It's got an alternate face without the mask. Looks pretty cute. So coming right off the release of the 00 Sky and the 00 Sky Higher Than Sky phase, in relatively short time we're getting a third 00 Sky. The 00 Sky Heavy Weapon System Trans Am Infinity Mode is colored in the Trans Am Infinity Mode colors and has the Heavy Weapon System parts. That's the short version, and the long version is that the kit is molded in metallic or shiny kind of glitter injected purple plastic, and it's got a bunch of really cool weapon pieces attached to it. The H2 Magnum is also getting a kit for its final form from the Build Divers anime. This is a white H2 Magnum that's based off the SP version from Gundam Age, except now it's called SV because that's how Build Divers works. He's got some new parts in his legs that make him hard to stand. He's got some new pieces on his backpack to give him extra funnels. I really would have liked it if they included some extra parts for the display stand that would allow you to display him with all the bits out like he looked in the anime where it was kind of replicating the Age FX thing. That was really cool looking, and I liked that a lot, but it looks like we're not getting the parts for that in this kit, unfortunately. There's also going to be a build custom set that's going to have the new parts for both of those kits, or at least most of the new parts for both of those kits, all in one convenient package for those who don't feel like picking up the variations. More Haro merchandise. The Figurized Mechanics line is getting a Haro because why make a small Haro when you can make a slightly bigger Haro? We've gotten a lot of Haro kits lately, but I actually don't mind this one at all. This is really cool. He's got articulated limbs and he's got movable eyes that light up. I'm assuming you can put some kind of LED unit in there to light them up, and I would also probably say that it's safe to assume that that's not going to be included with the kit. But it's still a really cool looking model, and also really neat about it is they actually include a second set of armor shells for it that are translucent green so you can see all the cool details inside. Premium Bandai Master Grade Qubeley Damned. I don't like this kit. This kit makes me uncomfortable. The big hands are creepy, the big arms are creepy, and I don't like it one bit. This is the partner suit to that Hyaku-Shiki we looked at earlier. It's from the same manga/novel. This thing really gives me the creeps. It wasn't until I saw this kit that I realized how uncomfortable characters with disproportionately large hands make me feel. Master Grade Jinx 3 Federation colors. It's the Jinx 3 Outlaws colors, but in gray, and it's still P-Bandai. High Grade Jinx 4 Commander type. P-Bandai kit. It's the Jinx 4 we got from Build Fighters, but in the 00 colors. Hey, editing Soundwave coming at you from the future, just to tell you real quick about the Master Grade Gym 2 Semi-Striker. It's P-Bandai, it's a retool of the Master Grade Gym 2 that we've gotten a couple versions of already, and it looks pretty cool. And finally, wrapping up the new kits for tonight, Premium Bandai High Grade 1144, the GM Cannon Space Assault type. This kit looks cool, I like it, but it's P-Bandai, and that kinda sucks. I mean, I definitely saw it coming after they released the Sniper Custom as a P-Bandai kit, and this is technically the Space Assault type cannon, so there technically is still hope for a standard retail cannon, but I'm not holding my breath. And finally, to wrap this video up, I'm just going to be running some of the box art for the kits that have been released over the last couple months in front of the screen as I'm talking right now. I'm not going to commentate on any of them because I've seen these months ago. I'm tired of talking about kits at this point. I've been recording for like 40+ minutes. And I am just ready to be done with this video. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for sticking around for the last 2 months of absolute nothingness. If you're new to Channel 2S, hit the subscribe button, leave a like if you enjoyed this video for some reason. I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.